Beloved brothers, sisters, friends, and well-wishers here present. First, I want to, with profound humility, acknowledge the presence of our station minister, who is here today to give us the spiritual support that we all need to thrive spiritually and materially in the physical world. And to the CWC of Ugeli Zone, I also thank you for this privilege that I have to be in your midst. I also want to thank our mentor, in person of Brother Joel Omare, a man I've always admired right from childhood in Samuel as far back as 1998, 1999. He may not have known me practically, but I do see him and I also understand the roles that he played in God's holy organization over there in Samuel. So beloved brothers, sisters, and friends, our invitees and delegates to this seminar, it is with profound humility, but with deep sense of responsibility that I'm standing before you and my humble self to make this presentation on the topic just announced by the MC, business capital without effective management and discipline is poverty in disguise. By the grace of God, I am an employee of one of the leading microfinance banks here in Nigeria. We are talking about MoneyPoint Microfinance Bank, the small blue terminal that you see everywhere today. And by God's grace, I hold the office of Business Relationship Manager. And by the grace of God, I've been practically involved in the business world where capitals are given to business owners by our institution from their various affiliations in the society. And at the end of the day, these businesses for which capital has been provided, after 6 months, 1 year, you see them going back to where they were before or becoming even poorer. This particular message is very broad and all-encompassing, but we are time-bound. I've been told I have limited time to speak, precisely 2,700 seconds. I don't know how many seconds I've taken already. This presentation is prepared in slides, into 10 slides, into 10 study outlines, with each study outline having a practical illustration. But because of the fact that we believe that brevity with effective management is the hallmark of decorum, we are going to have, emphasize, re-emphasize, and explain in practical and realistic terms the 1 to 5 slides. We are going to take slide 1, which has to do with understanding the concept of business capital, effective management, and financial discipline. Slide 2 talks about why businesses fail in Nigeria despite having received a startup capital. Then we are also going to talk about another slide, that is the 6th one, that is cash flow management being the lifeblood of every business. Then we talk about also the concept of retained earning, consumption, savings, and investment. What it truly means for small and medium-scale businesses. And finally, we wrap it up with strategies to building a business that survives in economic uncertainty. In the first place, one will ask, what is business capital? If you look at the slide there, this is a layman's definition of what business capital entails. It simply means the money, the assets, resources, and financial support that is made available for a business owner to start, operate, and expand a business of his choice. Now, one of the key words there is asset. By money, we mean cash or cash equivalent. By cash equivalent, I mean something that is easily convertible to cash or something that can be easily converted to cash. By asset, we mean something like land and building, properties, plants, and equipment. Or resources that is capable of generating income when put into proper use. That is the meaning of assets. When you have something like land or building, properties, plants, or equipment, you already have a capital unknown to you. And if you can harness these assets, in the long run, you can be able to generate money for yourself and break out from the vicious cycle of poverty that we see ourselves in the world today. Then by resources, we mean anything that is useful. So business capital refers to the money, the financial support, the asset that is made available to an individual for the purpose of starting a business, for the purpose of operating a business, and for the purpose of expanding that business. So, effective management, as we can see in the slide, has to do with proper planning, budgeting, monitoring, decision making, and the utilization of those resources that we have mentioned, whether money, assets, in order to achieve the objective of a business. I want to ask a small question here before we delve into explaining what effective management means. When you ask an average business owner in Nigeria that what is the reason or why are you going into this particular business, the next thing they will tell you is that I am going into this business so that I will make money. Profit is always at the mindset of every business owner in Nigeria. But that is a very, very wrong mentality. How is it wrong? I will explain. So effective management here has to do with proper planning. Budgeting. Budgeting here means giving every naira an assignment. Giving every naira an assignment. I have 1,000 in my bank account. What is this 1,000 going to do? You don't just have money and keep it in the bank without giving it assignment. If not, you are enriching the bank and you are subjecting yourself into poverty. And that is what we mean by budgeting in this context. Then when we talk about monitoring, when a budget is made, it is very, very important that the business owner who has planned prepare a budget, that the person monitors that particular venture to the extent of utilizing it in order to make money for himself. Now, the whole aim of going into a business or any service whatsoever is to create value. And it is this value that will not produce what? Profit or income. And that is why I say that the primary aim of establishing a business or going into into service delivery is not to make money, but to create value. Because when you don't create value that is capable of solving a particular problem, that is capable of providing solution to the problems that exist in the society, money cannot be made. Nobody pays for something that is not able to solve a particular problem. When you are going to a supermarket to buy clean, if you are going to a supermarket to buy clean, for instance, the expectation is that when you get this clean, Omo or whatever detergent you just go to the market to buy, is that this particular thing will be able to wash your clothes, and your clothes will be clean. And when you wear it, you will look very, very presentable. So when the value that a business owner is creating is not solving a particular problem, we can't call it value, and money cannot be made in the long run. So money comes through the creation of value. Now, when we talk about discipline here, we mean the ability to adhere to sound business principles. The ability to maintain, to adhere means to stick to sound business principles. To maintain financial control, to avoid unnecessary expenses, and to consistently, to regularly follow a defined procedure. Everything in life has a process. Of a truth, there is no shortcut to success or making money. So discipline entails you following or observing or regularly maintaining a defined procedure in order to achieve a particular goal. Discipline here has to do with you maintaining financial control, avoiding unnecessary expenditure. There are things that we actually spend money on, but when you analyze that thing very well, you will see that thing itself not very important to you, but you spent on it. A wise businessman does not spend his money anyhow. He spends his money in order to get value. Value that will satisfy a want or sufficiently cater for a particular need. So that capital is not just a resources. Without sound that we are about to receive can disappear and leave the person poorer than he was even before the money was given to him. Leaving the person more miserable than he was ever before he received the capital. So when we receive capital, it does not mean that we have arrived. It does not mean that we have become successful. It no mean that we don't achieve what we require for life. It is the starting point of our success. Business capital is the starting point of our financial success in life. I had a case study. Two boys went to Onitsha market and they learned a trade for 5 years. At the end of this analysis, I would want us to tell us what actually is the problem with one of these boys. Two young men went to Ochanja market in Onitsha. They served Oga for 5 years. And at the end of the 5 years, they were settled with goods worth 5 million naira. Most times, the Oga will not give you the money physically. They will rent a shop for you pay a house rent for you for at least 1 year, and use some of the money, let's say 5 million, 3 million, 6 million, 10 million, depending on the kind of order you have, to buy goods for you in that particular shop. Mr. A received 5 million naira. Mr. B received 5 million naira. But Mr. A did something. He invested wisely. He kept record. He maintained financial discipline. And at the end of 2 years, 5 million naira has turned into what? 10 million. And at the end of the third year, 5 million naira has multiplied itself into 15 million. But one of those boys who has no financial discipline, he has no self-control at all. He was not serious in learning the basic knowledge that he has to learn as far as that business is concerned. It was only about make the time reach, make Oga settle me, make I go begin bless my life, make I become Oga myself. Before you know it, the capital of Mr. B disappears, and Mr. A is now prospering in his business ventures. The next thing that Mr. B will say is that there is no money in this business. There is no money in this business. Whereas, the same amount they gave Mr. A was what they gave Mr. B. Mr. A has succeeded because he maintained financial discipline. He kept business record. He monitored. He controlled. He did not spend unnecessarily. Whereas Mr. B went with that money to nightclub. He bought a motor. He need to buy a car. Why did he even buy a car that is not producing money in the first place? That is how me I see it. When people will say I am stingy, it's because I'm not seeing real money. I cannot buy a car that is not capable of generating money. Because car itself can be a source of generating money for yourself. So at the end of the day, who can tell us what actually happened with Mr. B? What actually happened with Mr. B is lack of financial discipline. Mr. B was totally unorganized. And Mr. B was after gratification of the flesh. So I satisfied my soul, I don't even suffer. That's why I deal with so many people. Recently, a young boy came to me, he got 3.5 million. He said, your guy fine, what do I do with this money? I told him, what do you know how to do? He started laughing. At the end of the day, he said, okay, you don't tell me I don't know anything now. You tell me what I will do with this money. And I asked him, what are you interested in? The young man is not interested in anything in life. He started clubbing. He bought a very big polo that can contain two of me myself. You can see how fat as I am. He bought a very big tree and he was moving on the street. Everybody was hailing him. When he goes to this bar, he will pay. When he goes to that bar, he will pay. And after like 6 months, money disappeared. The boy came back to me, saying, no worry, if I am again, I will use this money well this time. I told him you are not serious. Because I was ready to cancel him into what to do. But before you venture into a business, you must have knowledge of that particular business. You must know how to navigate your way. You must know how to manage economic uncertainty that surrounds that particular business. If not, that business will crumble. So that will lead us to the second slide, which has to do with why businesses fail in Nigeria. Why many businesses fail in Nigeria. Like we have mentioned, this one of the reasons study outline 2, yes, why many Nigerian businesses fail despite adequate startup capital. One of the reasons that is accused, or one of the reasons that is given as to why businesses fail in Nigeria is lack of financial discipline. Spending unnecessarily, spending on frivolity, spending on things that does not matter, spending on things that will not generate income, and spending on unnecessary lifestyle. Now, this lack of financial discipline, I can explain it in three ways. One of them is excessive personal withdrawal. Excessive personal withdrawal. What do I mean by excessive personal withdrawal? You started a business with 1 million naira. And after like 2 weeks of the business, you withdraw money from that business. 200,000 naira. You've not made profit. So you've not started generating profit, but you have started withdrawing for personal use. You took 200,000 naira out of the 1 million that was given to you. You went and paid your children's school fees. You have looked at yourself, I am now a millionaire. This one room, why in a day? If I go back, enter 2-bedroom flat. That 1 million never generate anything. No. You don't be think of how to buy. That is lack of financial discipline. What happened? The capital of that business, after withdrawing 200,000 naira, is no longer 1 million. That business is remaining 800,000. So there is need for us to apply a concept in the accounting of business world known as the business entity concept. This accounting concept or convention that is adopted universally by prudent businessmen makes us to understand that the business is different from the owners or those that have economic interest in that business. You should see your business as a different entity from you. What you are entitled to in a business, what belongs you or what is due to you in a business is not the capital. Capital must be protected at all costs. You must protect the business capital with your blood, with your life, and with everything you have. What you are entitled to in a business is the profit and not the capital. And it is not even every portion of the profit that you are entitled to. It is a portion of the profit. Because a wise businessman having made profit or generated income must keep a portion of that income he has generated for the expansion of that business or for emergency and economic situation that may occur along the line. So what you are entitled to in a business is not even the profit, but a portion of the profit. So by no means should any businessman withdraw from his capital for personal need. You start withdrawing when profit is what made. So lack of financial discipline can also mean mixing personal and business funds together. A lot of people today in the business world, there is no difference between their business accounts. There is no difference between their personal accounts. They go to any account and withdraw, and they say it does not matter. It matters. Because when you withdraw from your business account, you are withdrawing from your what? Capital. You are withdrawing from your what? You are reducing the capital that you started with. So when we in Money Point Microfinance Bank, immediately we create business accounts for you. Most of us, we go ahead and create personal accounts for you and we'll tell you, madam, you see this business account, use it to run your business. Let every money that comes to this business go into the account. And at the end of the day, when you have made profit, withdraw a portion of this profit, put it in your personal account, and from there you will be solving your problem. But after much preaching, you see a lot of people not obeying this simple rule. They will operate that account. There is no difference between business account and what personal account. These are lack of financial discipline. So when we mix business account with personal account, there is no way we actually know how much of our capital we have withdrawn from the business. We are still talking about number one, lack of financial discipline. You will not know how much of your capital you withdraw for personal use. So still on that lack of financial discipline, a lot of businessmen today, they spend profits before they make it. Is it not true? Am I communicating now? A lot of people today, they spend profits before they make it. In short, before they even sell, they have calculated the profit. There is nothing wrong in doing that. Trying to ascertain your profit beforehand. There is nothing wrong about that at all. But spending that profit before they arrive is a problem. There is an accounting or business concept that says that profit should not be what anticipated, but the business owner should make provision for all necessary losses that will come to that particular business. You shouldn't anticipate profit, let alone start spending the profit before they arrive. Some people will buy 20 bags of cement and they will calculate, I will sell this bags of cement with 200 naira. And when you multiply 200 by 20, you are already having 4,000 naira profit. And they will go and buy your credit. They will go to their nearest neighbor. Please give me something of 2,000. That when I need money, I will pay you. You've not made money. You have already started spending the profits you have not made. So that is why in practical accounting, we don't take paper profits to be profits. So also another reason why business fail is poor record keeping. 95% of business today in Nigeria, they do not keep any record at all. The bookkeeping, the commerce, the business study that we learned in secondary school, a lot of people are not putting it into practice. Poor record keeping. If you don't keep record, how will you know your profits? How will you know your loss? Today, funny enough, Moniepoint Microfinance Bank talks about this, and they designed a software known as Moneybook. The Moniepoint Moneybook is the kind of software that is designed by Moniepoint Microfinance Bank to help business owners to record their sales automatically with that small POS machine you are seeing. As you are selling, you are recording. Just as you are receiving the money, you are automatically recording your sales. That particular money book can help us to track sales. If you are the boss of any company, you can be seeing what your staff is doing from any location you have without visiting them. With it, you can track your sales. You can know who sold what, who sold Omo today, who sold grain, who sold yam, who sold garri. Because you have imputed all these items into the work system. And when you introduce it to a lot of business owners, they will say, nah, broken in here that one, you people should go with this thing. This thing itself, I don't have time for it. It is too stressful. Now, we know that the manual accounting, the manual bookkeeping can be stressful. Now, because we live in 21st century, we live in digital times. Companies said, okay, businesses, let's help you record your sales. And a lot of people is still saying no to that. Poor record keeping. So poor record keeping means no sales record. You don't even have record of how much goods was sold and the value of what was sold. No inventory record. You cannot at any time say that this is the amount of goods that is remaining in my shop and this is what I should buy next. no cash flow monitoring. So we are still talking about poor record keeping. It entails a lot of things. So businesses, for us to ascertain the financial position of any business, for we to know whether the business is making loss or profit, there is need for proper record keeping. That is what that particular one is saying. Another one is lack of business knowledge. I've explained this earlier during the introduction when we are talking about understanding the concepts of capital and effective business management. Brother, sister, friends, and well wishers may be there. Any business where you don't get idea of, no go into it. Don't assume that this person is doing it and this person is making profit. I will also do it. My own will be the same thing. I will make profit. You don't have knowledge of what you are doing. So before, that is why when Brother Marie was talking, he made reference to the apprenticeship system that is currently practiced by the Igbo people. No realistic Igbo man will give you money without you going through the apprenticeship system. The essence of that is to give you the knowledge of how that business actually works. What and what to do in times when things are hard for that particular business. When you understand how this business works and how to maneuver your way, how to manipulate issues in that particular business, your business can never crumble. Even when others are crumbling, you are still standing. So if there is need for us to have knowledge of whatever we want to use this money that will be made available to us to know. And it is not too late. If we are here and we don't know what to do with this money, we can still go back and learn. We saw some people starting from 65, and before they died, they also became what? Billionaires. So there is no time. Time is not late for you to do anything. We can still learn businesses, starting with today. Another one is poor customer management. You cannot be a good business owner, or you cannot succeed in business when your character in the first place is not even good. Customer A come, you insult them. Customer B come, you insult them. Customer C come, you insult them. You are sending out a notion. You are killing your goodwill. The next thing that will happen is that, I don't come and make my place, go buy something. That particular woman don't get Canada. Before you know it, or that particular man don't get Canada. Before you know it, what happens is that you begin to lose customers. And as you lose customers, you lose sales. And as you are losing sales, you are losing income or revenue. And as you are losing these customers, your business is crumbling. And as this business is going down, poverty is on the door waiting. So poor customer management contributes a lot to business failure. There is this phrase in the business world that says that customers are king. If you are not humble, there is no way you can effectively relate as a business owner and be able to manage your customer very well. So there is need for us to develop this interpersonal skills, this personal relationship with others, because it will even bring more sales for us, it will bring more customers, it will bring recommendation to us, it will bring referrals to us. It will make people to like us within the community where we operate. Robert Kiyosaki says that if you make sales, you have earned the trust. And if the customer comes back, you have built the brand. And based on that brand that you have built, no witches from your village, my village, and our village can stop your progress. So let these customers be satisfied. The satisfaction of customers is key. When they are satisfied, they will refer other people to you. And before you know it, in the sale of a particular product, you have become a brand in that your locality. So poor customer management is one reason why business is failing in Nigeria. We are talking about reasons why business is failing. Despite having money, despite having received millions of naira, or despite having received any form of empowerment. Now, another thing is excessive credit sales. You never start business. You never even begin to succeed for the business. You don't be sell on credit. You don't begin sell on credit. So there is no way business that is thriving on credit will succeed. With time, your capital will disappear. Because let me tell you one thing. In the accounting world, there is what we call bad debt. In the world of accounting, there is what we call bad debt. What is bad debt? Bad debt simply means that some of the people wey dey owe you, they no go pay you. Whether you like am or not, it must happen towards a business. That person sef fit be your relative, income, you sell something give am. Before you know it, the person don dey sick. You wan go tell sick man say give me my money. Or perhaps the person sef don die because death can occur at any time. Then you come go meet am say before your husband die, he dey owe me. I come make I collect the money. Even in Nigerian law, if that money is not up to 2,000 naira, you cannot sue that person. So if it's below 2,000 naira, you just have to bear it. It is only when it is 2,000 naira and above that you can sue. So bad debt. Bad debt means that the people wey dey owe you, so not be all of them go pay. Dem fit pay o, they fit make the money later, they go come pay you. But there is this certainty that not all of them will want pay. That is why in income statement, you will normally see accountants making provision for what? Bad debt. And they will not record it as what? Expenses that the business has borne upon itself as a result of what? Credit sales. We also have another reason, which is what? Inflation. And this one I touch everybody fast. Inflation and currency instability. The value of 1 naira in 1999 is not the same value of 1 naira today. Every day our currency is depreciating. At the time, naira was $1 to 180 naira. At the time it was 360. At the time it was 500 and something naira. At the time, what happened? But naira today is over 1,000 something. So inflation, which means the consistent increase in the price level of goods and services in a particular economy, can also make business to what? Pay. I have a lot to say, but I have been time. They said I should start wrapping up. So let's talk about study at 6, please. Let's go to study at 6. It has to do with cash flow management. Cash flow management. Study outline number 6. What is cash flow management? In a layman's understanding, cash flow management means the management of the money that comes into the business and the management of the money that goes out of the business for the smooth running or for the efficient administration of the particular business in question. So cash flow management is very, very key for a business to survive. We have to manage the money that comes in and the money that what goes out. The money that comes into a business is called revenue or income. And the one that goes out is called what? Expenses. When you make sales, when you make excessive credit sales, let's say you started a business with 100,000 naira, and at the end of the day, you finish selling everything you have, you made a profit of 20,000 naira, the business is now worth 120,000. And inside that 120,000, about 80,000 naira and credit wey you sell. And the month don dey end, you need to purchase more goods. You need to what? Pay your workers. The year has ended. you need to what? Pay rent for that particular premises where your business is located. At the end of the day, you see yourself trying to recover money first before you meet the basic need of the business. So that is called cash flow what? Management. When cash flow, the inflow and outflow of cash that comes into the business is not managed properly, the business will surely what? Crumble. So there is need for us to manage our inflow and outflow very, very well. So let's quickly go to the study outline number 9. Study outline number 9 talks about retained earnings. Retained earnings. You can see it there. It is the secret of sustainable growth. You will don't open business. The first thing when you suppose get for mind, now say, as I start this business, no be so this business will end. Now, sustainable growth. Look at the things we can do with retained earnings. Fund expansion. We can use portion of the profits we have generated from our business to expand the business, to buy more equipment. If you are into production, maybe you have one machine that produces a particular volume of goods. You know, if you buy more machine, you will produce more. And when you produce more, you will sell more. And when you sell more, you make more money. So you should keep part of what? Your profits. Now, retain earning. When you have retained some of these profits, you use it to expand your business. That will now lead us to what we call savings. At least you should save as a business person. As a business person, there is need for you to what? Save. But do you know that your savings can also become an investment? The money that you have saved, that is in your bank account, lying fallow, can also be an investment to you. It can also be generating what? Money for you. Even being what? Savings. What is savings? It is that portion of our income that we did not what? Spend. That portion of our profit that was not spent on goods and services is what? Savings. An investment is that portion of our income that we invested to generate what? More income. Now there is a correlation. There is this kind of relationship between what? Savings, consumption, and what? An investment. Today, there is a lot of things that we can do with our savings. I met a business owner one day and I told him, sir, you are eligible for a credit facility or a loan of 50 million naira. The man said, I have enough money. Money point, you people should go away from here. I don't need your money. I said, okay. So that money that you have, what have you done with it? The man said, now the money they bank go. Even this FCMB people, they debit the money every time. In the name of stamp duties and all other unnecessary what? Charges. And I told the man, percent for you, 17.5%. I told him you can do fixed deposit with this money. If you do a fixed deposit with your money that is lying value on the bank, and the interest rate for that fixed deposit is 17.5, what does it mean? It means that every 10 million will generate for you 1.7 million. And that 20 million will generate another what? Another 3 point something million, 3.4 million for the business. So when I told this business owner about this, he said, are you sure? I said, try us now. You see how sure we are. And he did it. When the cashier last year he called me and I came, he gave me 20K and I was happy because he didn't have this idea before now. So a lot of us today don't know that our savings can be what? Investment. There are several ways we can invest our savings. We can invest it through the purchase of bonds, government bonds, or company bonds. We can invest our savings in the name of debentures. We can invest it in treasury bills. We can equally invest our savings in what? Fixed deposits. So these are ways that our savings can bring back what? Returns for us, can yield income for us, even without us working. The real people that are making money are those that are sleeping and their money is what? Growing. It is not those that is working hard every day in order to make money. So if you are sleeping and your money is not growing, it means you are still poor. You are still inside the vicious circle of poverty. That person has not break out yet. That person has not attained what is called financial wealth, freedom. So there is need for us to minimize our consumption. There is need for us to what? Retain our profits, and there is need for us to invest this profit that we have retained in order to generate what? More money. So finally, let's go back to study outline number 10. Study outline number 10. That will be the final thing I will say today. Though there are 5 other study outline I did not say, maybe during the course of question and answer, if you have any issue, by God's grace, I'll be able to provide clarity. Building a business that survives economic uncertainty. What are the essential ingredients? What are the strategies that is what involved in building a business that works, that can survive economic uncertainty? One of those strategies is what? Maintain emergency what? Fund. One of those strategies is what, brothers and sisters? Maintaining emergency fund. Let me explain this with an illustration. When one particular governor was in operation in Imo State, his particular delight was to crumble the economic life of the people. Many people were praising him outside the shores of Imo, but only Imolites actually knows what was happening. This man, this governor, his strategy was to destroy markets. If you go to this market, you will say this market is on the road. He will scatter the shop midnight though. So when you are sleeping in your house, you don't know that the goods that you have in your shop are what? Being destroyed by the government. So government policy can affect a business to an extent that the business will what? Crumble. So what do we do if we don't have emergency fund? We had a story of one woman who had 3 locations in one particular market, and these 3 locations was destroyed. She is a widow, and there was no emergency fund. What happened? She became IBP started. Before you know it, she is dead. So was the story of so many people who didn't have what? This emergency fund. So one of the strategies for building a business that can survive economic uncertainty is having emergency fund. So that when this uncertainty happens, you can lay hold on that fund and start what? A new life for yourself. Some persons survive and some persons could not what? Survive. Another one is diversified revenue source. What is revenue? It's simply this income to a layman, to the layman's knowledge. That is the meaning of revenue. Nobody has ever become rich doing one particular thing. You are just known for this particular. Yes, you can have a brand and maintain it. But many prudent businessmen you see today who have succeeded in the world of business and entrepreneurship. They have multiple sources of what? Income. Bible said that give a portion to the 6 and to the world 7. Because you don't know which one will prosper. Whether they both will prosper or whether something will happen to what? One. So there is need for us to what? Diversify our investment. Invest here, also let another thing, invest there, let another thing, invest there. So when we diversify our revenue or income stream, our business will survive economic what? Uncertainty. Another thing is controlling operating costs. What is operating cost? Simply, it means the expenses that is involved in the day-to-day running of a business. The money that the business expends day-to-day for the smooth operation of the business. We have to minimize costs. We have to what? Minimize costs. What does it mean to minimize? Reduce. Reduce it to the barest minimum. Don't spend on things that will not give revenue to the business. Don't spend when you are yet to even generate revenue. So another one is embrace technology. Embrace technology. One of those persons that have embraced technology in our what it does is that you will post it online and people will start what? Making demands. There is a lot of us today who don't know how powerful the internet can be. The internet is a life changer. The internet can change your story within a twinkle of an eye. So whatever brand it is that you are building, you should embrace the technology that will help you to generate what? More sales. A lot of people, they are not so, like say, a lot of people today, they are not flexible enough, they are not dynamic to change, they don't like change. They like doing things in a particular way. And there is no way you can do things in a particular way and become what? Successful. You will still be getting the same result. So another thing is focus on customer retention. This customer retention can also what? Be goodwill. The ability that your customer will also always come back to you. The ability that this customer will bring referrals to you. So we should focus on how to retain our customers. If you get 20 customers today and you lose 10, you just have 10 customers. So there is need for us to work and try as much as we can to retain our customers. So we shouldn't depend on borrowing and we should maintain adequate financial record. And finally on the list is that any business that must survive the times, the economic uncertainty that we are currently going through in Nigeria must learn, unlearn, and continue to what? Adapt to the situation. My time is up, beloved brothers, sisters, and friends. Thank you very much, and thank you for your audience.